Substance abuse continues to tear at the very fabric of our society. Addictive drugs are more plentiful than ever, and the lifestyle of addiction often leads to crime and prison.
I was 14 when I first started using alcohol. I started drinking with friends. Seemed like the thing to do at that time. Gave me some false courage, a lot of peer pressure. Made me feel like I belonged. And then from there I went to smoking marijuana. Once again, I wanted to feel like I was in with my friends, and a lot of peer pressure there. And then a few years later, I turned to the heavy drugs, which was meth. Meth made you feel like, meth gave you a lot of false courage. It made you feel like you could do anything. You know, you was on top of the world and stuff, and gave you a lot of false courage. And I've been doing, was doing meth for like 21 years of my life, and altogether I was off track and using and drinking for 23 years. You know, for the 21 years of using meth, somewhere in between there, I'd say about 15 years in between there. For that 15 years, I was aware of my problem, and I knew I had to get help, and I knew I had to get better, but still at the same time, I would just keep doing what I was doing, keep using and using, but at the same time, I was fully aware of what I needed to do. And what made me really realize that I had a problem and that I needed to be fixed was when I got arrested and got incarcerated. Not for drugs, but I was incarcerated for other charges. And while I was in there, I got new charges, which was drug charges. And at the same time, knowing that my daughter was going to be born, that made me realize and made me tell myself that it's time for change, man. I can't be going on like this anymore. And even at the same time that was happening, being incarcerated, having a baby on the way, found out when I was locked up that my mom passed away. And the sad thing about it is, she didn't pass away when I was in there. She passed away when I was outside getting high. And all that time I was getting high, and I didn't even go to visit my mom. And the last time I saw her was like was in January, the beginning of 2010. I remember last time I saw her and I told her, "Oh Mom, I'm gonna come back and see you." And because of my drug use and my alcohol use, I totally forgot about my mom. And that was a big part that played in me seeking help. Well, I would say the biggest part of what kept me using would have to be being selfish. I was out of control, and deep down inside, I wanted to stop. I told myself, you need to stop. You got to do something about it. But yet, at the same time, I wouldn't do nothing about it, because I guess it was because I was selfish. All I thought about was getting my next high. All I thought about was myself, and that's why. You know what? The first time I got out of jail, I went straight home, met with my mother, and the first thing I did was get on the phone. Well, actually, the first thing I did was I went to the store, buy alcohol, and after I got intoxicated, first thing I went and called my friend and met him, which was asked him if he had drugs, and when he got high, and from that point on, I was getting high until the next time I got incarcerated, which made me realize, wow, the first time I got out of jail, I should have made a change at that moment, but I didn't. I got incarcerated a couple of times, and every time I got incarcerated, all I thought to myself was, whoa, never again I'm going to drink, never again I'm going to use drugs. And I bet that's what every person goes through when they get locked up. Talk is cheap, but that's exactly what I was telling myself. Oh, I'm not going to drink. That's what got me here. I'm not gonna do drugs. That's what got me. But as soon as I walk out that prison doors, boom, I was using right away. Well, I've been using alcohol, meth, marijuana for 23 years. And from the start of using, I noticed I started to get into trouble, started getting arrested. As a juvenile, I'd get arrested, I'd get put in detention homes. Would cause my mom all kind of problems. Then it escalated into getting angry, especially the alcohol. When I was, under the influence of alcohol, I would just say things that would hurt my family. I would do things that would hurt my family. And then when I got even more deeper in using meth, I would do so much painful things. I would not only hurt people, but not only was hurting others, like my family. I would steal from my family. I would say things that would hurt them, and at the same time not realizing that it was also hurting me too. And in the long run, which is now, I realize not only how much I hurt my family, but I hurt myself as well. And that's something you can never take back. As I progressed in my using of meth especially, I would isolate a lot. I wouldn't want to face the world. I would just go work, come home, stay indoors, and I wouldn't go out. Before I would just go out. I would look forward to going out, watching movies, going to clubs with my friends. But as soon as the meth got in there and it progressed, I just wanted to isolate a lot, and that wasn't good at all. Whenever I used meth, as soon as I got high, I would want to do a lot of things, and a lot of things that was useless, that wasn't important in my life. That I would block out the world, block out the ones who love me, friends, isolate, and just do my own thing, tweak on things. I used to think about women a lot. I used to think about useless things. I used to spend my whole time, day and night, knowing that even I gotta work the next morning, I would stay up all the way doing things that were useless. Whether it be crossword puzzles or fixing something or just useless things that got me nowhere. As a child growing up, it was pretty hard because I lost my father to cancer when I was 7 years old, and I had a good dad, and I also had a good mom who took care of us, my brother and I. She worked really hard. She also, disciplined us very hard as well. And we weren't well off, but we weren't, we weren't rich, but we weren't poor. My mom always made ends meet, and she did her best. Maybe it wasn't enough sometimes, but she always did her best. She always took care of us. She always showed us a lot of love, and I should have known from that. That always was with me, and I didn't realize that until until it was too late. That I did have a good structure growing up, but I just never held on to it. Just never applied it to my life, which I should have done. And there was one point in my life where my drug use got so bad that while I was working as a security guard, there's 2 towers in town, downtown Honolulu, Hawaii. I started to steal from offices in the building. It would be offices like lawyers' offices. What else we have there? All kinds of companies. Anyway, my drug use got so bad that I would burglarize these places, and came so bad that I got caught. And I was on the job with my security uniform, working as a security guard, getting arrested, and being escorted out with the police. And that was like one of the tip of the icebergs for me. Well, the thing was, I would be stealing from these offices money because I knew they had cash boxes in there. Another co-worker of mine, he accidentally slipped out his mouth. He mentioned it, that people were doing that before, and then I was, that was one way I could get drugs. And so I started taking the master keys from the security office, which opened all the office buildings, which opened all the offices. Would take these master keys with some kind of trickery. I would kind of like distract the guy at the desk and my partner, and I would take the keys and I'd go up there, and I always knew where to find the cash. And not proud of that, but I guess I had an incentive, which was drugs, at the time, and that was my motivation, was to get high, to get more drugs. And I would find the money, take it, and it happened this one instance where I got the wrong key, maybe, perhaps, and I went into this office and they didn't have cash, and I was in a hurry because we had a time limit of doing our patrols and stuff, and I took some digital cameras and stuff. And at the same time, usually I was more into the cash, but when I did take these digital items and stuff like that, digital cameras, Palm Pilots, I had someone that I was fencing it to. But the strange thing is that day when I was thinking about going to the pawn. My friend wasn't around for me to fence these items, and at the same time I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna go take it to a pawn shop. But knowing that, fully well that I'm gonna get caught, but at the same time I had this desperation inside of me that I kind of wanted to get caught. So I went ahead, pawned at the pawn shop, and that's where I all followed after, and I got arrested on the job. The one thing I think was holding me back from changing my life is that probably I was so used to this lifestyle, I was afraid of change. I was afraid of trying new things. That's a big possibility that it could have been that. I was so caught up in my problems. I was so caught up in like I said, it had to do with being selfish in a way. Feeling sorry for myself. I was so occupied with that, with me, that I forgot about everything around me. And the drugs played a big part in that. I've been clean now for a year and a half. Maybe it wasn't by choice. Maybe it was because I was forced to, because being incarcerated and being in a program. But the one thing I noticed is that I don't have the urges anymore, and I start to see things more clearly now and realize that I can make better choices, and realize also that there's a lot of things to live for, and that drugs and alcohol ain't a big part of my life anymore. Being incarcerated, coming to the program has kept me clean for a year and a half, and being clean for a year and a half, I realized that I can see things more clearly now. I feel better about myself. It made me realize that it's all about making the right choices. And there's a lot of things to live for. Just waking up every day. Seeing the sun,